Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely massive, the 2026 World Cup in North America. It isn't just another tournament, it's completely rewriting the rulebook of international football. Whether you are a die-hard fan who tracks every stat, or you're just tuning in for the global spectacle of it all, the game you thought you knew is changing. Seriously, we're talking brand new futuristic technology, way stricter rules, and a tournament structure that is quite literally the biggest in history.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda for today. We'll be looking at 5 key areas. First, the massive tournament scale. Second, speeding up the game. Third, high-tech officiating. Fourth, discipline and player welfare. And finally, surviving the knockout stages. And I promise you, by the end of this, you are going to be a certified expert on every single new dynamic shaping this massive tournament.
All right, Section 1, the tournament scale, bigger than ever before.
So the 2026 World Cup, which is being co-hosted by the US, Canada, and Mexico, is officially going to be the largest sporting spectacle in human history. For the very first time, they're expanding the tournament from 32 teams up to 48 teams. And because of that huge expansion, we are going to witness a staggering 104 matches over the course of the whole thing. Just to put that into perspective for a second, that is 40 more matches than we saw at the last one in Qatar. It's just a whole lot more football for us to watch.
Now, those 48 teams, they're going to be split into 12 groups of 4. And what this means for the players down on the pitch is honestly an unparalleled test of endurance. To actually lift that iconic golden trophy on July 19th in New Jersey, the eventual champion will have to survive 8 grueling games. That's one more game than it took Argentina to win the whole shebang back in 2022.
And, with a bigger tournament comes a massive financial injection. FIFA is pumping a total of $871 million into the tournament distribution. That means each and every one of the 48 participating teams will be equipped with just over $18 million in preparation and qualification money. So the stakes, both physically and financially, have quite literally never been higher.
Moving right along to Section 2, speeding up the game, the anti-time wasting crackdown.
Historically, football has really struggled with a major issue, and that's dead time. Well, the lawmakers of the game have finally had enough, and they're bringing in a severe anti-time wasting crackdown to physically speed up the pace of play. So I want you to think about this for a second. How do you actually stop tactical time wasting? I mean, we've all seen it, right? A team goes up by a goal, and suddenly every single throw-in takes a whole minute, every goal kick is like a theatrical performance, and injured players conveniently collapse right in the middle of the pitch. Well, FIFA is finally stepping up to aggressively target players who try to kill the clock.
Here are the rapid-fire solutions they're rolling out for 2026. Referees are now going to enforce visible 5-second countdowns for throw-ins and goal kicks. And get this, if a goalkeeper delays beyond those 5 seconds, the opposing team gets a corner kick. No warning, just boom, corner kick. Plus, treated outfield players whose injuries stop the run of play, they now have to stay sidelined for a full minute after play restarts. The only exceptions are for head injuries or goalkeepers. Oh, and to stop those unofficial tactical timeouts, referees are going to strictly prohibit players from clustering around their coaches during injury breaks.
But the real kicker is this brand new 10-second substitution rule. It is arguably the most severe procedural change in modern football. When a substitution is signaled, the departing player literally has 10 seconds to exit the field via the nearest boundary line. If they drag their feet and fail to do so, their replacement is held back for a minimum of 60 seconds. That means the offending team is forced to play a man down with only 10 men for at least a minute, and the sub can only come on at the next natural stoppage of play.
Now, if you think teams don't actually get punished by this, let me tell you about a recent international friendly between Japan and Iceland where they tested this exact rule out. So it's the 84th minute, and Iceland's Christian Hlinsson takes a little too long to leave the pitch. As a result, his replacement gets held on the sideline, dropping Iceland down to 10 men. But here is the crazy part. Play didn't naturally stop after that 60-second penalty ended. It just kept going for 2 full minutes. And during that man advantage, Japan completely capitalized and scored the winning goal. It's a brilliant example of exactly why this rule matters, and how a few seconds of time wasting can instantly cost you a match.
All right, on to Section 3, high-tech officiating, expanded powers, and automated calls.
Now, what's really interesting about this next shift is the massive leap in refereeing tools. We are entering a totally new frontier here. Let's contrast the old video assistant referee system with the new expanded VAR. So previously, VAR was strictly reserved for reviewing goals, direct red cards, and offsides. Pretty basic. But for 2026, the VAR team, who will actually be operating out of a centralized hub in Dallas, has expanded authority. They can now intervene if a player unjustly gets a second yellow card that would result in an unfair sending off. They can even step in to fix a wrongly awarded corner kick if the on-field ref missed who touched it last. It's all about maximizing fairness without breaking the natural flow of the game.
But honestly, the absolute crown jewel of this tech upgrade is the semi-automated offside technology. Imagine this: 12 dedicated tracking cameras mounted under the stadium roofs, relentlessly tracking players' limbs at a rate of 50 frames per second. If there is a gap of more than 10 centimeters between the attacker and the defender, the system automatically feeds an offside audio signal directly into the assistant referee's earpiece. And if the margin is tighter than that, the earpiece simply says delay, which allows the human officials to step in and make the final call.
I love this quote from Canadian World Cup referee Michael Barwagan because it really humanizes this crazy technology. He says, "The computer has to think, and it's super fast, but on the field, it feels like forever." And he's totally right, because even with robots tracking 50 frames a second, assistant referees still have to let the play run until the offside player actually touches the ball before they can blow the whistle. So while the computer thinks instantly, the tension out there on the field still requires intense human concentration and patience.
Okay, Section 4. Discipline and player welfare. Protecting the game. FIFA is rolling out some really strict mandates designed to protect the physical health of the players from exhaustion and also to protect the integrity of the game from on-pitch abuse. To combat physical exhaustion, we are getting universal cooling breaks. Basically, this is a mandatory whistle-to-whistle 3-minute hydration break that will happen exactly around the 22-minute mark of every single half. And the fascinating part about this, it applies regardless of the weather. Whether it's sweltering hot in Miami, or it's freezing cold, or they're playing inside a climate-controlled dome stadium with a roof, the referee is going to blow that whistle for a guaranteed 3-minute break to make sure playing conditions are equal across all 104 matches.
On the conduct side of things, there is a brand new zero-tolerance policy. Players are now going to be shown a straight red card if they cover their mouths with their hands or their shirts during a heated confrontation. Now, routine tactical whispers with covered mouths, totally fine. But hiding insults from the cameras during a clash is now an instantly ejectable offense. On top of that, any player leaving the pitch in protest of a referee's decision gets sent off immediately. And if a team's coaching staff encourages their players to abandon a match, that results in an automatic forfeit. No questions asked.
And this right here is a massive win for the fans, showing how FIFA is balancing discipline with keeping the best players out on the pitch. It's the double yellow card amnesty. Under the new rules, a player's disciplinary record is wiped entirely clean after the group stage, and then it's wiped clean again after the quarterfinals. This is huge because it ensures that your favorite star player isn't going to miss the World Cup final simply because they happen to pick up a single minor yellow card in the semifinal.
Finally, Section 5. Surviving the knockout stages, how to advance.
Let's move to how this builds, because with 48 teams, just making it out of the group stage requires a deep understanding of a very specific mathematical hierarchy. To figure out which top 2 teams, plus the 8 best third-place teams, actually advance from those 12 groups, officials are going to follow these exact tiebreaker steps. First up, total group points. If they're tied, it goes to goal difference. Still tied, it goes to total goals scored. Then they look at the head-to-head record between those tied teams. If somehow they are still deadlocked after all of that, it comes down to the fair play record, meaning whoever has the fewest yellow and red cards wins. And if absolutely all else fails, a literal drawing of lots will decide a nation's fate. Imagine the stress of that!
Now, if a team actually survives that group stage gauntlet, they don't just go to a round of 16 like in the old days. Nope, they get dumped into an unprecedented, massive 32-team win-or-go-home knockout bracket. And let me tell you, the survival mechanics in these knockout games are intense. If a match is drawn after 90 minutes, teams head right into extra time, which is a guaranteed 2 15-minute halves, completely regardless of how many goals are scored. To cope with the sheer fatigue of it all, teams are granted a 6th tactical substitution, plus they get an extra one if there was a suspected concussion. And if the team still cannot be separated after 120 minutes of grueling football, survival comes down to the ultimate drama, a best-of-5 penalty shootout.
So, as we look ahead to the summer of 2026, we're left with a really fascinating reality. With strict 10-second countdowns for substitutions, semi-automated offside technology tracking every single inch of the players, and a massive 48-team gauntlet standing in the way of that trophy, who do you think will adapt fast enough to survive this new era of football? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you're as incredibly excited as I am to see how these game-changing innovations actually unfold out there on the pitch. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.